Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Samasta Jana Kalyani Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram. We are at the end of chapter 18, the concluding part of Bhagavad Gita. In the last session, we saw Bhagavan Krishna had pretty clearly explained that one should engage in the field of action which is inborn. Thereby one can exhaust one's own vasanas. Also, Gurudev gave the spiritual psychology of Vedanta, where he had given that ignorance causes desires, which causes thoughts, and which causes action. The only way to overcome this endless cycle is by gaining the self-knowledge by which the desires come to an end, thoughts will cease to exist, and action will also end. The concept of state of moksha is actionlessness. This does not mean a person who gained the self-realization will not do any action at all, but there would not be any ego or personal desire in all his actions. Means the reason for our ignorance is self-forgetfulness. Just as the son of a rich man begs on the streets due to being self-forgetful, ignorance of the self, which is naturally blissful, causes the desires, thoughts, and action. We also saw what is self-abidance, known as Gyana Nishta. Abidance in the pure self, with no grief and seeking nothing, remaining serene and being the same to all, means the supreme devotion to God. And various steps involved also we have explained. And the link between knowledge, devotion, and action is also explained by Lord Krishna in the 18th chapter. Study of scriptures, contemplation, and practice of meditation as the path of knowledge. Daily prayers and complete surrender to God's will is the path of devotion. Serving everyone with love without any anxiety about the result, the path of action. We also saw, is our action by choice or choiceless? We, as the people who are still in ignorance, we act without choice, propelled by desires, prompted by inherent tendencies. Whereas the wise person, upon conquering desires and vasanas, acts out of choice, converting every action as a service to God. So not engaging action is not going to end action, because we will be pushed by the prakriti, the nature. So how should one remember while in the field of action? Know that God resides in the heart of all beings. By his power of illusion, he engages in specific field of action, every one of them. Remember him as present in you as consciousness that empowers all your limbs and their faculties. By surrendering to him with love, by his grace, you obtain supreme peace and eternality. This much was seen in the last section. Now, Bhagavan Krishna reveals the supreme secret. The most secret knowledge has been revealed by Lord Krishna to Arjuna. And that is why Lord Bhagavan feels that way, because the devotion of Arjuna is so firm, so friendly, constant. And so the secret is always shared only with one who is trustworthy. It is said a friend is not only someone whom you can confide in, it is someone who can mirror the trust you have shown by confiding in you as well. Between Lord Krishna and Arjuna, there was such a bondage. They had a total trust on each other. Understand, Lord Krishna is the very incarnation of God. He doesn't need a friend. Everybody is friendly to him. Everybody is equal to him. He specially gave to Arjuna because of his implicit, innocent faith and devotion to him. If we also have the same kind of faith in the Lord, we will also become a recipient of the great secret. The teaching is not only secret, but also sacred as well. Why it is sacred? It is sacred because it reveals the divine nature of our own being. Gurudev calls our own self as remaining in the sanctity of our own heart. If you go to a temple, the sanctum of the Lord is deep within the temple. And that is the main focus of the temple itself. Every devotee who goes into the temple basically goes mainly to look at that Lord who is residing as a presiding deity of that very temple. The temple will be very vast and huge and everything, but the sanctum of the Lord is so sacred and quiet. The sacredness of that whole temple resides in the sanctity of that presence of the Lord. In the same way, we, as we move about in this world, we talk, we think, we do so many things, but in the process, we lose the sight of the sacredness of our own self. Within us is God's presence. Think of it. When you go to a temple, how devoutly, how reverentially, how lovingly, how worshipfully, how respectfully you enter the altar of the Lord. So should be your understanding of your own self residing in your own heart is so sacred, not only in you, in everybody's heart. So as much as you have the reverence and love for the Lord in a temple, the same reverence and respect you should have for the temple who is just there in your own heart and everybody's heart. How should you then treat everyone? How should you treat yourself? Think. The sacredness should be understood. This is the secret revealed by the Lord. Bhagavan said, Krishna said that in everybody's heart, the Lord is present in the equal way. Samoham sarva bhuteshu. I am same in all beings. Hriddeshe stitah aham. I am staying in the heart of everyone. The teaching is for Arjuna's personal growth and well-being. Bhagavan Krishna spent his time to only make sure that Arjuna no more gets any doubt, no more delusion, confusion, no more hesitancy about his performance of action, no more ambiguity in his thinking. And that is why he clarified all the doubts. Over the shoulder of Arjuna, the Lord had addressed all human beings for everybody's welfare and well-being only. Lord Krishna gives the choice to Arjuna to act, finally, according to his own wish. This is the greatness of all the masters. Despite revealing the highest secret, Lord does not insist Arjuna to follow. This is what is to be understood about the Sanatana Dharma known as Hinduism. No insistency about what to follow. It is interesting that many people say that in other religions, there are specific instructions that are given to everyone. Do this and don't do this. Do 5 times prayer, or 3 times prayer, or every Sunday or every particular day you go and do this particular discipline, follow this fasting and feasting, specifically given to everyone to follow. That is how the religion had been built in the mind of the people. In Hinduism, there is no such hard and fast rules. Why? Because the great rishis believed in freedom, in independent thinking. On the one hand, you will find that when people are not told what to do, they don't do it. They don't do anything at all. On the other hand, if they are told only to do this and not anything else, it looks like they do not give any more freedom. So Sanatana Dharma built on the maturity of the people who are following this very religion, so to say. Therefore, believing in their maturity, the Vedas, the scriptures, especially Bhagavad Gita, has given complete freedom for everyone who reads. The greatest of all saints of Sanatana Dharma is that they advise but not compel. They encourage open discussions and reflections. They also guide the students to independently make their choices regarding the path to freedom. This independently making the choice is the freedom this Sanatana Dharma gives to each individual. After so long a conversation between Arjuna and Krishna, what we find is yata ichchasi tata kuru. What you wish, you do. This is to say, the teacher had complete trust in the student who has listened, that he knows what to do, and therefore there is no need for the teacher to insist about what to do. Now, the ultimate truth has been revealed to Arjuna. Lord Krishna declares the ultimate truth that will lead to everyone to him and liberation. Lead everyone to him and liberation. He gives specific pointers. Fix the mind in God. Again, understand, these are all not instructions. These are all what need to be done if you want to liberate yourself. Again, that whether you want to gain moksha or not is up to you. It is not that if you don't get moksha, then you will be declared to go to hell forever. No. You will continue to grow. You will continue to progress in your own pace, with your own speed, with your own maturity. No doubt about that. But if you would like to reach moksha, if you would like to reach the complete freedom, this is the way, and that is how it is pointed out. Therefore, fix the mind in God. What do we mean by that? Mind being the constant companion of the soul, without the remembrance of God, the mind will carry the soul into the endless cycle of birth and death. Every moment of our life, there is a constant companion that is conversing with us, within us. It is like your roommate who is there conversing with you all the time. It is not an external person. It is an internal dialogue going on within us all the time. What we see, what we hear, what we taste, what we smell, what we touch, what we think, what we eat, what we drink, everything is commented by this companion of yours called the mind. And this mind, which is constantly controlling your thought, your own behavior, if one does not understand the false nature of this mind, temporary nature of this very mind, and take the attention from that mind towards God, if one doesn't do that, the mind will lead the soul to endless birth and death cycle. So therefore, Bhagavan said, fix the mind in God, first thing. Second, be devoted to him. What do we mean by that? No human life is constant or complete. There is always a certain amount of gap between you and the person or object of your love. there is not consistency. There is always a certain expectation. And therefore, the soul whose true nature is the self is truly in love with the self alone. In fact, it is said in the Upanishad also, we love everyone because we love ourselves. If someone who is not in love with you, you go after that person to love, because by the deprivation of the love from others, you feel that you can't love yourself. You see, when I am loved by someone, I feel that I deserve to be loved. I feel good about it, meaning I am a lovable person in the eyes of somebody. So I like it. And on the other hand, somebody doesn't love me, I feel that I'm lacking something, because of which I'm not loved by this person. So therefore, he or she goes after that person to make sure that person loves. It is interesting that every one of us want to be loved. Why? Because what is in us is most beloved. Without recognizing that, we look for an external love to confirm that we are lovable. It is like you stand in front of the mirror and decorate yourself, and then you become confident that now I put enough makeup, I combed my hair properly, then I am presentable. Why do you say, how do you say that? Because I went to the mirror, looked at myself, and found myself perfect enough to go out to be appreciated by others. Is it not? In the same way, when you are loved by someone, you feel confident, you feel important, and nobody loves you, for example. If that is the case, then you feel depressed and dejected. So why we want external one to confirm that we are lovable? It is because we have not found that most lovable presence in us by ourselves. Once we have found ourselves to be most joyful, lovable, then I don't need an external confirmation. Just as a person who is aware of himself and being at ease with oneself doesn't need a mirror to confirm his own beauty. Look at a small child, a child which is only few months old or a year. Does it go and look for a mirror and to decorate itself? Does it? It doesn't. Why? Because it doesn't have the concept of to be confirmed by others about my existence, about my being. Doesn't care. The child doesn't care. In the same way, a realized master also, whatever be the condition in which he is so comfortable with himself. Therefore, such an individual who is blissfully aware of one's own self doesn't need an external one to confirm that love. That is the reason why when the mind is devoted to the Lord, it is as good as loving one's own self. Unable to abide in the self, the soul wanders in the world of objects and beings. Devotion or the supreme love is the way to rediscover the most beloved self which is within all of us. Bhagavan says, sacrifice all unto him. Why? He says, nothing belongs to anyone. It is all his creation, God's creation. Everything belongs to him. We are only temporary owners of whatever we own. There is no true ownership. It is only given to us. Even in this physical body also, you do not have any claim over this. It was given to you by your parents, and it will be taken away by the nature. So this is also a temporary abode, temporary housing that you got, from where you come to operate in this world. Please do recognize this will also go away. Even this will pass away. Nothing belongs to anyone. Everything belongs to only God. Please understand that. Therefore, whatever you give to him, in the name of Dhanam or in the name of Yajna, in the form of a tapas, austerity, sacrifice, or charity. Yajno Dhanam tapaschaiva. All these are all manishinam, for the people, human beings. They are those which can purify the mind. That is all it is. So when we recognize that all belong to him and we handle it in that way and share it with others, our mind will lose the hang-ups, possessiveness, aggrandizement, owning up, greed. Pavanani manishinam, they are all most purifying. So sacrifice all unto him. Surrender. What is surrender? All human efforts are meant for temporary comforts and conveniences only. No soul can escape physical death or rebirth. That is bound to be there, for sure to be there. So when we understand that all human efforts must come to an end, only to recognize that one as a physical human being, there is no eternality. The eternal nature of the soul is rediscovered only when we surrender unto him, unto the Lord. Total surrender to him will release the soul from all desires and set itself free. That is why the prapatti or surrender to the Lord is emphasized. Leave aside everything for him to take care. We think that we are the CEO of this world. The world that we live in was there before we came. It will remain when we leave. It is his abode and he knows what to do. We are just his hands and legs. Let us remember this and watch him do everything through everyone. It is by mistake or by our own misunderstanding that we think we are making a change in this world. No, he is making it happen through you. Even if you are putting forth effort to bring about a change anywhere and everywhere, wherever you go, it is because the Lord wants you as an instrument in his hand. So that kind of an attitude that he is doing, that concern about myself and my plan and my idea, my desire, my goal should be given up. It is he who is doing it, let him do it. So also finally he says, do not worry, stop worrying. What does it mean? Faith in him is the only remedy for the disease known as worry. Any person who worries is a demonstration of lack of faith. It is like this. When you are going to a doctor and he says that you need to be undergoing a surgery for a particular reason, and then when you recognize that it needs to be done and the doctor even shows the reason why it needs to be done, once you have decided that I have to get it done, you leave your concern, your worry to the doctor, to the physician, to the surgeon. He will take care. And when you are rolled into the operation theater, when you are given anesthesia, you are not going to even know what is going to happen. Is it not that you are totally surrendered to the expertise of the ability and skill of the surgeon? And at the end of it, when you come out of the operation theater, when you come to your own senses, is it done? The doctor smiles. Yes, it is done. You don't even know what happened. Complete faith in him that what needs to be removed by surgery or corrected by surgery, it is done. When you take a flight and get into the flight, take a flight and go, and when you go into the flight and sit down, you don't even know who the pilot is going to be, whether he knows how to fly at all or not, whether it's a man or a woman, nothing you know. But you believe that the fellow who is sitting there in the cockpit knows what to do. And therefore you go and sleep. Even as you go for 24 hours of flight to India, you sleep. Why? You're totally confident that somebody is taking care. Is it not? In the same way, in our life, we'll do our best. Let Bhagavan, let the Lord take care of rest of the things. Let me not sit and worry about everything that happens in this world. Who qualifies to receive this knowledge? Bhagavan Krishna, towards the end of this chapter, he also points out who and what is the qualification of the student should be. Spiritual knowledge should not be imparted to those who lack self-control, mastery over the mind and the senses. Why it is important? Conservation of mental and physical energy is obtained by self-control. Ability to direct the conserved energy in contemplation and meditation is possible only when we don't drain our energy through the senses and unnecessary thinking. When I closely observed Gurudev, who worked not less than 18 hours a day and eating not as much as many people do, sleeping a very short time, at the age of 70 plus, working 18 hours, what was the enthusiasm and energy that he could gain at that age with eating very limited food, with all his physical conditions? What was that which was driving him to go day after day, place to place, and to conduct and various spiritual Gyana Yagnas and camps and talks and interviews? How? What made him do that? Conservation of energy. It is not a miracle. It is not an impossibility. We don't see it properly. When your mind is conserving energy, without the worries of the past and the regrets of the past, anxieties about the future, as Gurudev would say, the mind is fully available to you, then you cannot but be efficient. Also, there is no sense distractions. All the energies that are needed for you to perform well must be conserved by you only. By eating more, drinking more, etc., is not, you will get energy. Many people think, oh, I'll take a lot of protein and therefore a lot of energy. It only will drain your body and especially your kidney. People who eat a lot of protein will have kidney failures too often. So it is not by eating, more and more protein food or, doing a lot of exercise. These are all temporary adjustments that you can do. If you do overdo it, your physical body will collapse. So many people we have seen that those who do especially in the film field, etc., those who have done excessive workout, exercise, they died soon. Or taking drugs because they cannot control the senses. They cannot sleep because of the anxiety. So conservation of mental and physical energy and redirecting for contemplation and meditation, that is necessary for a person to gain knowledge. Devotion to God, pure love for Creator and the creation. This is also necessary qualification for gaining knowledge. Recognizing His grace. What is devotion here? Recognizing His grace functioning through all beings, human, birds, animal, and all the external elements, through which the Lord is continuously protecting, taking care of everything. This attitude of total devotion to the Lord is also a prerequisite for gaining knowledge. Attitude of service. Service is the expression of love for God. When a person in your life whom you love the most, would you mind spending time with that person? Would you mind helping that person if that person is in need? You don't. Why? It is love expressed to your own mother, to your own father, to your own brother or sister or a friend or a neighbor, whom you have great love and adoration or respect. You would not mind spending time or even efforts or even money. Why? Because of the love. So love expressed is service. So in the same way, when we start to understand the love understand that Bhagavan is functioning through everyone, serving everyone will not be anymore a second thought. You won't even think about it. You do it implicitly. And especially to those elders, we will get blessings by serving those who are wiser and older than us. So this is again and again repeated by the Lord in many places. And reverential attitude towards knowledge. Respect for God, Guru, and teaching is essential. Because Guru alone is one who introduces you to God and the teaching. And the God is the one who brings the Guru to you. And both God and Guru together make the teaching possible. And through the teaching, you come to know the greatness of the Guru and the God. So all these three are interconnected. Please think about it. Without the Guru, there cannot be introduction to the true nature of God. And because of the Guru alone, the teaching is possible. In fact, the God is one who brings the Guru to you so that you will go in the right path. And the teaching is that which makes us more and more aware of the greatness of the God and Guru. So all the three are to be reverentially approached. Scholarly learning without respect will not yield the final freedom and beatitude. Scholarly learning may be an intellectual appreciation of the knowledge, but it will not percolate into the heart in which you really experience the wisdom. That will not happen if that knowledge remains only as an intellectual idea. Gurudev says, just as we cleanse a mirror to remove the dimness of the reflection, so too by properly readjusting the mind, intellect equipment, its sensitivity to absorb the Gita philosophy can be increased. The constant cleaning of the mirror through the reflection is necessary for us to become more and more qualified for knowledge. In Bhagavad Gita itself, this word comes, Gyana Yagna. Bhagavan Krishna himself has coined that word. The teaching and imparting the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita is called Gyana Yagna. And that is interesting because Gurudev, when he started to give the public lectures, he called the entire program as Gita Gyana Yagna, Upanishad Gyana Yagna. Yagna is sacrifice. But in the sacrifice of anything we do for the gods, we sacrifice many different objects, material things. But here, Jnana Yagna, when it is said, we are not sacrificing knowledge, we are sacrificing everything into the fire of knowledge. Therefore, Jnana Yagna means where knowledge is shared, and the shared knowledge helps one to renounce his ego and desires, etc. Just as when we do a physical yajna of worship of the Lord with the fire, we offer to him everything that we own and possess and feel as our own. In the same way, the ego, the individuality, is sacrificed in the fire of knowledge. Spreading the knowledge is the most dear to God. Through imparting the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, many lost souls can be brought to the altar of God. As we all know, our own Gurudev, when he started to speak in public, people did not like it. They said that, why do you want to speak about Bhagavad Gita to common man, to the person on the road? Gurudev said, why? Everyone is given a chance to recover themselves. And if there is a person who is able to come out of his confusion, out of this knowledge imparted, what is wrong? We do not know who is suffering due to lack of knowledge, who is suffering because of absence of right thinking. And when I give this knowledge to everyone, even those whom I do not know, they also benefit out of it. So why not? That is how he approached it. One who teaches the knowledge needs to contemplate upon the deeper import of every verse to convey the same to the deserving students. And therefore, we find that the person who is imparting gains more than the person who is listening to this knowledge. Those who even hear this with faith will get liberated, according to him. Even Shravana Matrena Jnanam Tada Moksham Cha Bhavati. Lord Krishna blesses Arjuna by saying, if you have heard this with single-pointed attention, you will be free of delusion, which is caused by ignorance. So to each, Arjuna confesses, my delusion ended and I gained memory by your grace. Delusion ends when doubts are cleared. When doubts are there, knowledge becomes vague. Knowledge is incomplete. And when our knowledge is incomplete, confusion continues. That is the reason why Arjuna asked many questions. Continuously he asked questions. Almost every chapter he had questions. Why? Because I want my doubts to be clear. Because when I'm deluded and I'm unclear, I'm not able to take decisions. If I have to take decisions, I have to be clear. My mind should not be clouded. So when Arjuna confesses that my delusion ended and I gained my memory by your grace, what does it mean? Meaning, I now got the vision of my life. I know what to do. Understand, Krishna just spoke to him. Just a conversation. With that conversation by itself, Arjuna gained his great vision. That is to say, a true leader, when he conveys the correct understanding to those who are following, the vision that they get is sufficient. Thereafter, the leader, need not have to insist upon him anymore. Once you got the vision what to do, then it is your own choice of action. Continue to do what you have become convinced about. Result of God's grace is through unhesitatingly performing the work of God. That's what Arjuna said. Karishye vachanam tava. I will do what you wanted. So that transformation took place in Arjuna when his delusion ended. Gurudev said, never talk to the audience. Talk to your own mind and make it a louder reflection in yourself to yourself. If those who are around you are benefited by your own self-reflection, it shall be the glory of the Lord and not your personal efficiency. Never take credit if somebody has improved out of your teaching. Because Gurudev himself said when he was doing his first round of talks and went back to Himalayas to speak to the Mahatmas under whom he had learned, they all laughed at him and said, you may get caught up in that very work itself. And then you may even gain or increase your ego. Oh, because of me, and so many people have become better. No, your talking is not to anybody. You are doing a louder reflection in your own mind. Never think that you are giving a lecture to the people in front of you. You are only thinking loud. And that very thinking, reflection, if it benefits anybody, understand it is God's grace. It is not your greatness. It is God's greatness. Conclusion here is Sanjaya, the one who was reporting to Dhritarashtra at the battlefield. He said, the dialogue between Lord Krishna and Arjuna is the most wonderful conversation I have ever heard. Why? Because I saw the universal form of the Lord with great joy and horripilation. It is impossible to have the vision of the Virat Rupa of the Lord. Just, conversation alone was not there, but also demonstration. God, Bhagavan showed that he is everything. Everything is included in him. Good, bad, right, wrong, joy, sorrow, birth, death, creation and destruction. Everything is seen there only to demonstrate to everyone that without me, not even a blade of grass can move. So that universal form I happen to see. And not only that, the greatness of the Lord I happen to hear by his own words. And his own words had revealed why he came down to the human level and talked about the greatness of the Dharma and the need for self-realization, the need for knowledge, the need for devotion, the need for karma. Everything was put clearly in front of Arjun. And with the conversation which happened between them, we benefited. Sanjaya said, I benefited the most. The complete transformation had happened in Arjuna, as well as those who listened to him. And what is the transformation that happened in Arjuna? Before he said, I am deluded. And finally he said, my delusions are gone. Before he said, I shall not fight. Finally he said, Karishye Vachanandava, I will fight. Before he said that I lost my memory, I'm not able to think clearly. Then finally he said, I regained my memory. Before he said, I'm not even able to stand. I'm collapsing in my own chariot. I'm not able to stand straight. Finally, what he said, I am firm and I'm strong now. What a transformation by just conversing with the Lord. So the grace of Veda Vyasa, we can see in the entire Mahabharata, especially in Bhagavad Gita, because it was composed by him in the midst of Mahabharata. The story in the Mahabharata, all of us know it is between the war between Kurus and Pandavas. We know that. But then it was Vedavyasa who very, very intelligently brought in the highest philosophy of Sanatana Dharma, Upanishadic philosophy of Sanatana Dharma, into the Mahabharata. And as such, we know that it definitely took place. This very conversation between Arjuna and Krishna had taken place. But then explaining it in the way where we and I can understand has been done by Vedavyasa long time back. 700 verses of this Bhagavad Gita is no doubt the greatest treasure in the human world, because this knowledge is not meant for one particular region or religion or a set of people at a particular time of the history. It is available to all. It is applicable to all at all times. That great knowledge, he put it as a part of a literature and make sure that it is available to everyone. That was the greatness of Vedavyasa. Not only that, he gave a special vision to Sanjaya to see, hear, and understand the conversation. It is through Sanjaya alone we are able to understand what the conversation was about, because he was reporting to Dhritarashtra. So Sanjaya was so thrilled about the hearing of the whole conversation, and he was so pleased that an opportunity was given to him by Vedavyasa himself. So at the end of Bhagavad Gita, we see a most beautiful verse, Yatra Yogeshwara Krishnaha, Yatra Partho Dhanurdaraha, Tatra Sri Vijayo Bhutihi, Dhruva Anitir Matir Mama. There, wherever is Krishna and Partha, there are prosperity, victory, happiness, and firm policy. Krishna representing the spiritual knowledge, Partha or Arjuna representing the man of action in the world, secular and sacred. Together makes prosperity, victory, happiness, and firm political policy, which we should understand at this juncture. No nation will by itself, merely being a secular without a religion or spiritual philosophy, will ever continue to progress. And at the same time, merely being a spiritual religious community without any productive engagement will also would not progress. It is necessary for us to have both the philosophy of life as well as the philosophy of work. Both are necessary for us to proceed successfully. Therefore, Gurudev said, mere spirituality without material exertion and secular achievements will not make life dynamic. Enduring prosperity must be that which arises from successful endeavor, that is the result of cooperative and loving effort, and this cannot yield any success unless it is nurtured and nourished guarded and protected by an intelligent, sound policy. So he had included success, prosperity, and policy. In this very beautiful conclusion, Swami Chinmayananda said that every country should therefore understand the need for both the philosophy of life and the philosophy of work. Both are hand in hand alone can make a society to progress well. If the scientific and technological progress alone is considered by a society, it will not have any peace or contentment. Only comforts and convenience will be there, but there will be constant clash and competition and greed and fighting and violence will be there between person to person. When the spiritual understanding also takes place, each one of them, even though working very carefully and intelligently, will not hesitate to share what he or she has with others with love and devotion. If a society has merely the spiritual knowledge and not any action at all, such a one will not have any growth and the living will become difficult. Everyday sustenance will become difficult. Without engaging in the world and productively producing what is needed for living, a society will perish. So therefore, both secular and sacred knowledge must be combined together for a successful life. Thus, we concluded the 18 chapters of Bhagavad Gita, which we started a long time back as YuvaGita. It was a great journey for almost 6 years since we started. We started with a simple question: what, when, how, why? That was the original thought process which we had, because the Bhagavad Gita talks about what, why, how, and when. So this knowledge was given by Krishna and given to us by our own Gurudev, Swami Chinmayananda, through his own effective lectures and various books that he had written on this subject matter. We have studied that, and as much as I could, I had explained to the best of my understanding and to share main points of Bhagavad Gita verses to you all, with you all. And that gave me a great joy and also a great opportunity to learn more through this. And all the slides and all the videos are available online. So I am particularly thankful to each one of you who have been regularly meeting and discussing these points. I hope you can continue to study and wish you all success. Thank you so much. And here we conclude. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramayaha, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhat Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.